Now we are ready for the work. It's a big event. Actually, there are people from more than 40 countries here, from all over the world. And if I think that they took the trouble to travel such far distances from New Zealand and Australia and Japan and China and Hong Kong and Argentina and Chile and Brazil and the United States, and of course many from closer from Europe here. It shows that behind this there is a movement that carries us along and takes us into a realm where we shall be able to learn something and to achieve something that will be of benefit to many people, to us and to those whom we serve. Now this summer camp introduces you to another way of doing this kind of work. It started by being called family constellations. And of course we did family constellations. We placed representatives of members of a family, put them in a relationship to one another, and suddenly we realized that people were in contact with others whom they do not know. That there is a connection, a deep connection between those who represent them and those who are represented. And some said, well, that's something wonderful. We shall do now family constellations. And they did. And they did with a certain success. But were they in tune with these great forces that suddenly revealed themselves in a constellation? Were they able, by doing a constellation, to achieve something because they were clever, or whether they had learned a certain method, or did they disregard the greater forces at work? And family constellations began within the realm of psychotherapy. And therefore, many of those who did that work were psychotherapists or wanted to be psychotherapists. And suddenly, they placed a boundary around that work that limited it to psychotherapy and disregarded that what showed up by family constellations was something far beyond psychotherapy. It was in the service of life and the service of human relationships in a very special way. And when I started doing family constellations, I felt that I could not do it for a long time. I had seen it by other people, and I was even a representative, and I felt what it meant to be a representative, but I did not dare doing this work because I felt I had not understood what was really going on, and I was not actually taken into service by another greater force that revealed itself in this kind of work. And therefore, I waited, and I wanted to get in tune with these forces. And the first thing that I had to understand was, why are there good people and bad people? Why do we distinguish between good people and bad people? And when we saw a constellation, it didn't make any difference who the representative was, whether it was a good person or a bad person. They were all able to be in tune with something greater. There were no differences there. And so I didn't know why, but I thought I had to find out, how does human conscience work? And it took me a long time. 7 years. I was exposing myself to what was going on when somebody felt in good conscience and somebody felt in bad conscience. And suddenly it came up to me, if somebody said, I'm following my conscience, what is he doing? Is he doing something good? Or is he placing a burden on somebody else, and is rejecting somebody else? So I wondered, how is that possible? And then the idea that people say, conscience is the voice of God in our soul, and we have to follow our consciences any time. And if people follow their consciences, they begin waging wars against others with a good conscience, and those who wage war with them also follow their good conscience. So this was a kind of enlightenment. I was enlightened that conscience had not been looked at in a sober way. What is conscience actually doing? And when I found that out, I was able to do family constellations, not before. And now if you look at many of those whom you know that do family constellations, have they overcome the limits of their conscience? Or are they still bound up within their conscience? I give a simple example. If somebody says, I am competent, you are not. I am trained, you are not. I am better, you must not do it. What is he doing? He follows his conscience, and by following his conscience, he says, I have a right to exclude others from an insight and from applying an insight. It took us a long time. We worked together, Sophie and I, just to observe what is actually going on in family constellations. And it came up to us. As soon as you want to help somebody, you are following your conscience. Why do you want to help somebody? You say, I am better. You are not so good. I am in tune with a greater force, not you. I have to help you. And in that way, we interfere in the soul of other people in a very bad way sometimes. Still, the movements of the soul and of the spirit are gracious. That means even those who said they want to help others were successful to a certain way. Even I was successful sometimes when I followed this idea I have to help somebody, you see. But very often I saw that I reached a limit and that I regretted afterwards that I attempted, that I wanted to interfere in the destiny of another person. Now, it's very clear to us from the experiences we made and by the way we grew into another dimension of a spiritual realm, a realm of the spirit mind, that everybody is right exactly as he is. He cannot be better as he is. He cannot be less connected with the greater forces because he is other than I am. Everybody is moved by the same spirit mind. Whatever he does, whatever he is, whatever he wants, whatever his guilt, whatever his failures, whatever his success. Then we began to work in a different way. And how we do that, we will show here. So we all can participate in this new thinking and these new insights on getting something moving by allowing it to move by itself without our intervention. But when we do this work, we try to be in tune with the same movement that directs the other person. So we are in a connection with love and at the same time of respect, that we do not want to intervene unless it shows itself in the way people are placed. So what we learn here is to be in tune with ourselves, to grow into this other realm, and to move beyond the limits of our conscience. And that we shall now do step by step. It's a way of growing rather than trying to be more successful. We are successful because we grow.